Anybody that tells you there's nothing in the desert hasn't walked through the desert. There's an abundance of plant life. It's scattered, but there's a wide variety of plants of various types. Succulents. Succulents are plants that restore water in the stems and the leaves of that plant. And so it takes up moisture when it can, and then it obviously uses that moisture during dry periods. Plants have waxy covering on the leaves. The waxy covering cuts down on what process? Transpiration. So literally water plants be able to retain that. Now, frequently, the desert looks like a barren landscape, but if it rains, it blooms, it blossoms. It looks like a garden, multiple colored flowers, but they're there a short time. The flowers fertilize, it forms the seeds, and the seeds are dispersed. And those seeds will lay on the ground for 4, 5, 6 years, waiting for the next precipitation. And then they germinate, they send out flowers again, and bam, the process repeats itself. And when I say a short period of time, a week to 10 days, typically, is how fast these things will germinate, flower, be pollinated, and drop their seeds. Very, very rapid turnaround time. It's unfortunate that people looked at the deserts during that period of time, the flowering period. It's pretty, it looks like the deserts could support all kinds of vegetation. And people have said over and over again, let's make the deserts bloom and we'll have lots and lots of food for the masses of the world. Bad idea. Absolutely the worst idea you can come up with. Now, the Tigris, Euphrates, Niles, Ganges, what are they? They're cradles of civilization. They're rivers. It's where civilization, your ancestors and mine, were typically found. Then you have the Yellow and the Indus River of Asia, where we also find centers of civilization. They're all in semi-arid or arid environments. They all live by irrigated agriculture. You're going to say, but you just said you can't do that. The trick is in every river system, during the spring of the year, high water stage, what would happen in those stream valleys? It would flood. It would take away all the undesirable debris, and it would leave a new layer of soil to be cultivated. And this has been going on for thousands of years, 3, 4, 5,000 years. And the soils are just as fertile now as they were then. However, in the 1960s, I know 2 lifetimes ago for you, it's current events for me. In the 1960s, the Russians decided to help the Egyptians control the Nile because of flood issues. They're going to help the Egyptians control the Nile. And they put up this huge dam called the Aswan Dam. It was great. It controlled the floods, but it also prevented the Nile from flooding. It prevented the Nile from refertilizing the area, and it was devastating as far as agriculture is concerned in Egypt. Someone said, well, take the dam out, let it flood. Great, but you know what happens when an area no longer floods and you have high population density? Thousands, tens of thousands of people moved into these areas. Now, if you take the dam out and you let it flood, your home becomes a houseboat every spring. And obviously, that's not going to work. Okay, so why is adding water to deserts a bad policy? It's a bad policy because what happens is a layer of salt forms on the top of the soil. Remember, we're in arid environments. Arid environments, water evaporates. What happens to you folks in the summer? You're out there working or going through recreation. You've got this nice dark blue t-shirt on, And at the end of the day, you hang it up, look at it next morning, and it's encrusted in white. Basically salts off of your body. Now the soil does the same thing. Water evaporates, leaving behind the salts. And enough salts will destroy the fertility of the soil. It's happened over and over and over again. Yes, sir.
So that's what's really happening with the air all sea where the soil gets
Sorry, what?
it's happening in the air all sea that
Oh, the Aral, yeah. Precisely. The RLC in Asia is kind of an interesting case. The Russians are sometimes not really thinking 35 years in advance. They diverted water from various rivers to irrigate agricultural property. Two things happened. Well, many things, but two major things happened. First of all, they created massive salty soils, and they've abandoned those properties to a significant extent. The second thing is there's a body of water called the ROC, A-R-A-L. It was a inland body of water, doesn't connect with anything, but it provided a reliable supply of fish. That body of water has constricted significantly because fresh water is no longer flowing in at the same rate, but we still have evaporation. So evaporation from that sea over a period of time, and literally what had been one body of water now looks like two puddles of water. So again, if we don't think these things through, if we say, yeah, it sounds like a good idea, let's give it a second thought. And they did not. Okay, so that was the BW area, the desert environments. As I mentioned last time when we left, we'll be looking at the steppe environments, and Copeland listed these as BSH and BSK, hot steppes, cold steppes. Another term that can be used for these is shortgrass prairies. That's the vegetation. So what we find immediately is, first of all, the amount of water available goes up. Temperature is about the same as in comparable deserts. So you could have 90s to 100 degrees during the summer, cooler temps obviously during the winter seasons. But the key to the steppe is a little more rain, and the rain is typically found during the cooler season, so it has greater impact. The steppes here in the U.S. would be eastern Colorado, Wyoming, eastern Montana, western Kansas, western Nebraska. It's that grassland area that supported major primary consumers, the buffalo, the elk, and so on. Again, the difference between the BSH, BSK are the winter temperature mainland. Okay, let's wander on over to something closer to what we have. And that's the green here. These are seed climates. And there are three basic categories of seeds. There's a seed climate identified as Mediterranean. Mediterranean. Obviously, it's located where? In the Mediterranean basin. But it's also southern California. It's also southern Africa. It's also parts of Australia. It's warm to hot summers, mild winters, and rain during the winter season. Summers are generally clear skies, blue skies, day after day after day. Did you ever think about why did the movie industry go to Southern California as opposed to Arizona or Texas or Florida? What?
Usually it's rain and
Rain is in the fall. Why did movie industry go to Southern California? Why not Florida? It's warmer in Florida.
It's too humid in Florida.
What?
It's too humid.